can bring our hands to our heart. And you can repeat after me. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha.
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 The unsurpassed,
The unsurpassed,
profound, and subtle Dharma
subtle Dharma
is difficult to encounter
is difficult to encounter
in hundreds
in hundreds
of millions
of millions
of kalpas.
of kalpas.
I now see and hear it,
I now see and hear it,
receive and uphold it.
receive and uphold it.
May we understand
May we understand
the true meaning
the true meaning
of the Tathagata.
of the Tathagata.
Namo Amitabha.
Namo Amitabha.
Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome to our fourth session of Fundamentals into Buddhism. So for those who missed the previous session, you can also watch the videos on our YouTube. We have the Hai Hui Shan YouTube. It doesn't matter when you come along because each session is a bit different and it's about some basics in Buddhism. And I thought today what we're going to talk about is very relevant to the questions you ask. And also this morning when you come in, so Danny taught you guys how to make offerings, like the incense offering to the Buddha. And she also taught you guys how to, once you offer the incense, you can bow and all that. So maybe we talk about why we bow. Why do Buddhists bow? Are we like bowing to like an idol or something? Is Buddha like God or something? What do people think? Is it like religious or something?
For me, I think the Buddha is more like my teacher, so that's why I wanted to, how to say the word?
Pay respect to your
Yeah,
teacher?
pay respect to the teacher.
Very good, very good. So before we begin each talk, we say Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha.
Yeah.
So Namo is also like I pay respect to our teacher, the Buddha. So Buddha is not really like a god. Buddha said he did not create everything. No. Buddha said no one is actually capable of creating everything. It's your mind that creates your life. So some people say, oh, you know, why there is the Buddhist teaching, why we still see so many people suffering? Why doesn't the Buddha go and help them? It's not like the Buddha doesn't help, but it's whether we want to learn and practice according to the way, or we want to stick maybe to our old patterns, right? It's like your parents. Your parents try to teach you something to be good, but then you're like, no, I don't want to listen to you because I know everything. And then I just do whatever I think is right, but maybe it's not right. Maybe it's not best for you. So the Buddha is like our teacher. So that's why we bow to the Buddha is really to pay respect to our teacher. Another reason, you know, what's the meaning of Buddha we talked about in the previous session? What's the meaning of the word Buddha? What does Buddha mean? You know where this word comes from? It's not from English. I mean, you were here. What does the word Buddha mean?
The enlightened one?
Yeah, very good. The enlightened one, the awakened one. So, can you also be a Buddha?
Yes.
Yes.
You have the Buddha nature within us.
Very good. So, what's the Buddha nature?
Find the light within us.
Very good. Very easy. I liked how you put it. It's easy to understand. So the word Buddha means awaken or enlighten. The Buddha said, you can also be awakened like me, enlightened like me. It's not only I can do it, but you can do it. So he showed us we all have this infinite potential that's within us. But why we're not there yet? Why we're not Buddhas yet? Maybe we're not enlightened yet.
Because we're looking for things externally instead of internally.
Yeah. And
So we're not able to find peace because we're in the external world. We find suffering when we go out. When we go in, we find peace and ease.
But what happened? Even if you go in, you see your mind has so much rubbish.
We meditate.
Yes. So the Buddha said, we all have this nature within us, to be like the light, to be infinite light. I call it infinite peace. Okay, it's within you, but for attachment and delusion, we cannot realize. Also, attachment to our own thinking as well. Right? Every day, our mind creates a lot of thoughts, and maybe a lot of them are not good for us, but we're attached to them. Then you keep thinking. Maybe today you say, "Oh, I'm so angry." You have this thought, you say, "This person really pissed me off," and then again you keep thinking. You can't get out. So it's like you fall into this vicious cycle of being angry. You enforce this even more, then you become even more angry. But if you can quickly see, oh, now I maybe have this negative reaction to someone or some situation, but you're aware. And that's what's called mindfulness. You're mindful of this. This is maybe like a negative thinking, but it's still the product of our mind. So we don't need to be attached to it. And we sort of like stand back a little bit. Maybe go for a walk or to practice the meditation. So you're not falling into the trap of your own mind. Right? So you're not attached to this negative thinking, then this cannot do anything to you. To meditate doesn't mean that you don't think. You can think, but as long as you're not too attached to it. So coming back to the topic of bowing at the Buddha, we are also bowing at what?
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Respecting.
Also the Buddha nature, that's within ourselves and all beings. I remember someone told me, someone who's very new into Buddhism, I said, I'll never bow at anybody. I said, you want to bow at the Buddha? No, So, but he doesn't realize, actually, to bow at the Buddha also is to bow at yourself, to activate the Buddha nature that's within us. Also because we have the pride, we have the ego, we have the anger, the three poisons you guys saw downstairs with the animals, the greed, anger, and ignorance. So all these poisons in our mind, we cannot realize. The Buddha nature, that's actually in us. So it's really a pity, a shame. And we should really try our best to activate it. If not 100%, but like as much as we can, with our meditation practice, with learning about the Buddha Dharma, it can help us slowly to maybe not be too attached to our old patterns, like maybe the habits, the things, the thoughts that are not good for us. Okay, so that's first is about why we sort of maybe pay homage and bow at the Buddha. And another thing is, today I also want to talk about the different Buddhas. So who do you know? Give me some names of the Buddha you know.
Amitabha Buddha.
Yes.
Shakyamuni.
Yes.
Siddhartha.
Shakyamuni and Siddhartha, are they the same?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vairochana Buddha.
Which one?
Vairochana Buddha.
Vairochana.
Yeah.
Vairochana. Yeah. So before we even go into the names, so let's say if the Buddha nature is within all of us, do you think there could only be one Buddha? What do you think? No, right?
Different people.
Yes, and so Buddha is like some being they had from the countless eons ago. Eon is a very large number, let's say, a long time ago. They cultivated very hard, maybe meditated very hard, practiced very hard, and they realized Buddhahood. So there are not only one Buddha. The Buddha actually said infinite Buddhas out there. Infinite Buddhas in infinite worlds and infinite cosmos. This is a very vast cosmology we are talking about, even more vast than what the modern scientists tell us. By the modern scientists, what we can currently know is about our observable universe. How they find there are so many, like trillions of, galaxies, billions of galaxies. They can't just be us, right? Or maybe you're like, I don't think we are the only planet that with life that in the whole of the entire cosmos. That's not even possible. You can't even pinpoint Earth in this galaxy. It's just too tiny. It's like a mote of dust. So the Buddha's cosmology is very vast. When one has realized complete enlightenment, Buddhahood, then one understands the truth of life and the universe. And the Buddha said, there are infinite worlds out there, also infinite Buddhas. But at one particular time, there's one Buddha that comes to our world to teach the Dharma. Why don't they all come back at once? Like all the other Buddhas, why don't they all appear in the world to teach?
Yeah. Do they have different teachings?
Actually, the Buddha's teachings are all almost like similar, the same, because it's to teach you how to be awakened.
Right.
So think about it. Why don't they all come back and all like Shakyamuni Buddha to be in our world to teach? Why does only the Shakyamuni Buddha come to our world to teach?
In other words.
Yeah.
Yeah, other words. Yeah, but why don't they all come to this world and teach? What do you think?
Because we're not ready.
Like why can't they appear at the same time of Shakyamuni Buddha, and then all be like all Buddhas, so many Buddhas that come and teach us? What do you think?
Because we have more like people being born and life being cycled. So then you want to have like an even spread. I don't know. So
Like imagine what happens if you have so many teachers all come at once to teach you.
overwhelming.
Yeah. First of all, it's overwhelming. Second of all, people don't know which one I should follow. I mean they're all good, but like you get a bit confused. So at one particular time in one particular world, there is just a teaching of one Buddha. But there will be the future Buddha who come to teach after this Buddha's teaching has sort of disappeared for a long time after. So they all sort of lined up, and in different worlds there are Buddhas that are teaching too. Yeah. So in our world, there is the Shakyamuni Buddha, also named Siddhartha Gautama. Anyone know about his story?
But I'm currently reading it, but I don't really know.
Yeah, anyone?
I remember he's a royal.
Yes, very good. Okay, so which country he was born into?
Kapilavastu.
Yes, Kapilavastu is nowadays what? Which country?
Nepal.
Nepal. Very good.
Nepal,
Ancient India, nowadays Nepal. He was a prince to the country of Kapilavastu at that time. He was born as a prince. He possessed everything that sort of we wanted. Money, power, whatever. He was born with it. Yeah. Actually, he chose to born to be a prince. Imagine why doesn't he chose to born as maybe like a farmer's son?
Maybe it's because they have the power and the money, so it's more easy to talk.
Yeah,
to share the.
Yeah, very good. So his story in like 2 minutes. So we talk about it in detail like in our second session. So I won't go into too much detail, but 2 minutes to sum up his story was like when he was born, there were like lots of auspicious signs. And then he was born to Queen Maya and King Shuddhadana as a Prince Siddhartha. So and when he was born, there was a sage called Asita who came to predict his fate and said, this boy, not a normal person, he will definitely renounce and to become a monk and to realize Buddhahood later. So this was the prediction at his birth. So all is written in the stars. and the father didn't want him to renounce, of course, because the father really wanted him to be the king of the kingdom. And the father tried to make him indulge in all kinds of luxuries, like give him built 3 palaces for him to reside. These are real story, like real historical events. Like so, one for the summer, one for the winter, one for the spring and autumn. So he could not experience any suffering of the climate change, a season change, and the father kept away from like all these suffering people from outside of his sight, so he could not see any like old people, sick people, dead people. So he lived really like a life of luxury. But one day when he grew up, like maybe when he was 18 or 19 years old, he decided to go out to have a look. And the father also agreed, but the father told people to clean up all the suffering, like possibility for him to see. But when he went out, and the first day, he still saw like an old person. And he asked his chariot what happened to this person. And the chariot said, it's an old person. Oh, what happened? And people, he never saw an old person before that. Can you imagine? Yeah, that's how sort of well his father did to hide away the suffering of the world from him. And then the chariot said, oh, everyone had to grow old. And this really saddened the prince. And the second day he went out and he saw a sick person. And then he asked, what happened to this guy? Oh, this person is sick. Oh, wow, what sickness? Like this to us is like no common sense, but you think of how he was brought up. This really was the first time he encountered this kind of suffering. And then the chariot again said everyone had to get sick. This really made him very depressed. And the third time he went out and he saw a dead person. What's death? Like there's a funeral. And then the chariot said, oh, this person's dead. We all have to die one day. This really like shocked the prince. And then he thought, so all the people I love have to all die. Then, sometimes when you think about death, you have this encounter with death, you think, what's the point almost? So that was, the prince thought, even if he had the best life now, he could not have this forever. Yeah, his wife, his child's gonna leave him and all that. It's very sad. Just like Jiawen, I could see, he's also very sad now. So, very sad. And then the last day he went out, he saw a monk, ascetic. Like at that time, there were also other monks from other sort of religion or tradition in India. And then this person walked with a very calm and peaceful face. And he asked a chariot, oh, what's this person? The chariot said, oh, it's a monk. And he asked the monk, how come you can be so calm and peaceful? And he said, because I cultivate the path, I cultivate meditation, so I can be calm and peaceful. And he loved it. And he said, this is what I'm gonna pursue. So on one evening, like a dark night, the prince escaped from the palace and went into the forest and cut his hair and threw all the jewelries, all the robes, and decided to be a monk, to realize enlightenment, like perfect enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. But we need to know this is not like selfish. Some people say, oh, he's so selfish. He abandoned his wife, his family, and just to go and pursue his own enlightenment. But we need to see why he did what he did. Like, he's not doing it for himself. And he wants to help all beings to liberate from all sufferings in life. This is really selfless. So eventually, in the end, he also went back to the palace. After he realized enlightenment, he went back to the palace and to tell the king about the teachings, what he had realized. So he sat under the Bodhi tree for 49 days. And he actually realized enlightenment so for 6 years, he practiced ascetic practice, 6 years. And then eventually he realized it's not the right way to just torture your physical body, to starve himself. He tried to starve himself to the extreme and almost died. And he realized maybe this is not the right way to do it. So he adopted the middle path to not indulge in desire. Why we shouldn't indulge too much in desire?
It's greedy.
Why it's not good to be greedy?
It's people should.
Because you can't have things forever, because of impermanence. So even if you want more, you cannot always have it. Not to get what you want, it's a form of suffering. Even to have what you want, but not to have it forever, it's also a form of suffering. Yeah, so not to indulge in desire, but also not to go to extreme, to torture oneself. So to stay in the middle, this is the best for our meditative concentration. So we enter deep meditative concentration under the Bodhi tree and realize the perfect enlightenment. But actually, according to the Buddhist teaching, he had already realized perfect enlightenment a long time ago. But he came here is like a performance to show us we also have the ability to realize perfect Buddhahood. And after that, he taught tirelessly for 49 years for free. He's like a volunteer, and just to share the teachings, what he had discovered to all the beings. So that's kind of like the story of Shakyamuni Buddha. Have you ever been to any Chinese temple? Any temple?
Yeah.
So what do you see when you enter into the temple?
Peaceful.
Yeah,
Buddha
but
statues.
Buddha statues, very good. Yeah, usually you see like a big Buddha statue in the middle. Which Buddha is that?
Shakyamuni Buddha.
Very good. There's a Shakyamuni Buddha. And usually, next to Shakyamuni Buddha, there are also two beings. You remember?
Kuan Yin?
No. There is actually his disciples. He had many disciples at that time. There were 1,500 disciples that often follow him everywhere he went. So it was a large group. But if you go to a Chinese temple, usually you see two disciples on the side. One is called Mahakashpa. This is a Sanskrit name, like Indian name. So Mahakashpa is like a very old, you see his face very old with wrinkles. So he is one of the great disciples of the Buddha. And he is renowned for his ascetic practice. He has very high standard for himself. So he was very strict for himself. He will only eat like one meal a day. So to practice Buddhism, you don't have to starve yourself. You can also eat 3 meals. But it's like different people, they prefer different types of practice. So he was like a bit extreme. Even the Buddha said, you don't have to do that. But he said, I prefer this way. so yeah, he just practiced extreme, not extreme, but very hard ascetic practice. I just ate like 1 meal a day, and then he would go out. So at the time of the Buddha, they went out to beg for food. So this is they don't really cook because it takes up too much time. The grocery, the cooking, the eating, the washing the dishes, and you don't have time for meditation. So in India, it's very common for people to make offerings to the monks. So it's a tradition almost. So it's quite easy, even if they don't cook, they just go around to beg for food, and people will make offerings. And it's a chance where they can also interact with the people and to share the Dharma with them. So that's the tradition in India. But it doesn't work now in temples like in Australia because it's too far. There are some monasteries in Australia. Even if they go and try to beg for food, after 2 kilometers, you don't see anybody because they're it's too far it's not different from in India. Also the culture as well. People don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. So here in the temple, usually they cook for themselves, or people bring food to the monastery to offer to the monks. Yeah. So, and this guy, he will only go for the poor family to beg for food. Do you know why? He will not go to the rich family to beg for food.
Give more chance, blessing.
Yeah, that's what. Yes. So he think, the poor people, they don't have much blessings in the world. But because he's an enlightened being, if you make offering to an enlightened being, then you gain good merit, like good blessings. And in your future lives, you can have more blessings. So he go and pick the poor family and to try to give them more opportunity to cultivate blessings. And also because he doesn't like the sort of luxury lifestyle, the really delicious food, he just kept things really simple. Yeah. And another guy on the other side of the Buddha is called Ananda, also his great disciple. So, all the teachings that we learn from the Buddha, from the scriptures, it was recorded, written down after the Buddha entered parinirvana. Parinirvana is different from to say the Buddha died, or the Buddha entered parinirvana. You know the difference of normal death and the Buddha's parinirvana. So nirvana means extinction. Right? It's the extinction of all the afflictions, all the worries. Right? When one becomes enlightened, you can say one attained nirvana and one extinguished all the fire of the mind, all the worries, all the afflictions. So when an enlightened being discarded his body, this is called parinirvana. It's like nirvana without the body. Yeah, it's not like he died like a normal being. When we die, right, the samsara painting we saw downstairs, after we die, according to our karma, the good deeds and the bad deeds we've done, and then we will reincarnate into one of the 6 realms. But for the Buddha entered parinirvana, it's like he sort of like hide away from us. He remained like sort of unseen by us. But the Buddha's Dharma body is actually everywhere. And when you become completely enlightened, your mind can be everywhere. This is difficult for us to comprehend because we're not there yet. So the Buddha's parinirvana is not like the Buddha died. If you read Wikipedia, sometimes they say, oh, the Buddha died. Right? This is a very different concept. Right? A bit maybe difficult to understand for beginners, but I also have a more detailed video on YouTube just on this topic if you're interested. You can also search about it. So after the Buddha entered parinirvana, his great disciple Ananda is like the Buddha's cousin, and also like born in the royal family. And also when the Buddha renounced, after he realized enlightenment, he went back to the palace. Many of the people from the royal family, like the cousins or the brothers or the sisters, they all, the brothers, just the cousins and all the many princes, they all follow the Buddha to become monks. And after the Buddha entered parinirvana, so Ananda was the key person who said, who sort of gathered all the disciples. There was Mahakashapa and Ananda. Ananda has this ability that he had perfect memory. Have you ever seen someone with perfect memory in this world? There are people with this ability. Even nowadays, you YouTube it. Because I remember seeing on YouTube, there were some people, I think from America or even from different countries, they have perfect memory. They can clearly record on this day, which day, he or she did exactly what. Just this perfect memory. So Ananda had that ability. He could clearly remember what the Buddha said. So all the Buddha's teachings, whatever he said, Ananda remembered all of them. So Ananda was the one who recited out the Buddha's teachings to all the 500 arahants. Arahants are like the Buddha's disciples who also realized enlightenment. And all the arahants, they had to all agree with what Ananda said. Ananda said, I remember I heard the Buddha said this and that and that. And they were like, yeah, I remember that too. So they had all agreed. They had all to agree to what Ananda said. So they all agreed that was exactly what the Buddha said. And then they recorded down into the sutras, or the scriptures, the Buddhist scriptures nowadays we study. So, after the Buddha entered parinirvana, how do we know about the Buddha's teachings if the Buddha is not in the world? It's from the sutras, the scriptures, that they recorded down immediately after the Buddha entered parinirvana. So the teachings were true, were real, because of Ananda's perfect ability to remember. And also because of all the arahants, they all agree that was the Buddha's teachings. And the Buddha said, you don't have to believe in what I say. You can practice by yourself, and you see. The Buddha's teaching is not about forcing you to believe, but it's also through practice, through experiencing yourself. You see whether meditation really works for you, whether you can really obtain peace of mind through my teachings. So you can try it for yourself as well. Okay, so do you remember other Buddhas you see in the temple when you go to the temple? So usually, if you go to a Chinese temple, you see 3 giant Buddha statues. In the hall, it's called a Great Hero Hall. Why is it called a Great Hero Hall? Who are the great heroes?
The Buddhas?
Why?
Because they're the teachers.
Yeah, very good. So usually when we think of hero, what's the quality of a hero in the world?
Savior.
Savior. Yeah, and
They've done something fabulous.
very good. Yes. So they've done something fabulous. They're courageous. They maybe can conquer. In the conventional world, maybe we call someone a hero. Maybe he's like a great soldier. Maybe he can conquer others, like an army or something. But in the Buddhist world, we call someone a hero if they can conquer their own mind. Yeah, so Buddha is someone who has conquered his own mind. So that's why we call him a hero. The Lao Tzu also said, to conquer others is great, but to conquer oneself is mighty. To conquer all the poisons in our mind, the greed, anger, ignorance, pride, and doubt. To conquer our own attachment, our delusions, this is mighty. This is the true hero. So it's called a Great Hero Hall. And in the center, we have Shakyamuni Buddha. And usually to the Shakyamuni Buddha to his left, there is also the Medicine Buddha. Anyone know about Medicine Buddha? What does Medicine Buddha usually hold? Usually the medicine, a bowl. What kind of bowl is that? It's a medicine jar. Yeah, sometimes you see the Medicine Buddha also sit like Shakyamuni Buddha, like in meditative posture. He holds a medicine jar, sometimes even a pagoda. But what does medicine jar represent? What do you think? What kind of medicine is in there? What is our medicine for the mind?
Breathing.
Very good. Yes, that's one of the practice, one of the medicine. You're right. So the medicine is like Buddha Dharma in general. So the Buddha's teachings. Buddha's teaching is very vast, and the breathing is also one type of the meditation, or the name-for the meditation, the chanting. What we're going to do later is also one type of medicine. So depending on your illness, the Buddha prescribed you with different subscriptions. So yeah, all different practices are for the sentient beings have different preferences, needs, likes or dislikes, capacities. Some practices are maybe more difficult, more challenging than others. Others are more easy. So it all depends on what you prefer. So you like pizza, I like pasta, I like noodles. It's all fine. All the teachings are equal, but some are more difficult than others. But it doesn't matter. They all lead to the same path. So here we practice the name-for meditation. Also, it's due to its simplicity. Nowadays, people, first of all, they don't have so much time to practice meditation. We see people running late, and all this with all different commitments in life. So it's difficult to practice, maybe to find time outside of our already busy life to dedicate them to our practice. With this name-for practice, the Amitabha recitation, you can incorporate into your everyday life. You don't have to sit there to be like that and to meditate, no. So with this practice, you can, whatever you do in your life, when you go for a walk, or when you are washing the dishes, as long as you're not too busy, you don't have to use your logical mind to think so much. As long as you're not doing some mathematical questions, then you can say Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha in your mind. You can keep this meditation in your mind all the time, every moment almost. If you can do this, you are the happiest person in the world. Really, you can be free from all worries. Meditation is not about 1 hour on a cushion. Now, there is a lot of misunderstanding about what exactly is meditation. They think, oh, I practice meditation in the morning, half an hour, 1 hour. But what happens if you go on throughout your life without awareness? If you're not in meditation or with awareness, with mindfulness, now what happened to the rest of 23 hours? You know, yes. So sometimes people are very like all peace and zen. They think maybe they're enlightened when they're sitting by themselves in a quiet room in meditation. But once they go into the real world, and then someone says something, and then they lose it completely. You had that? Yes. So the real meditation is really about moment to moment awareness. If you want to have moment to moment awareness, moment to moment mindfulness, what you need? How?
By bringing attention.
How?
By observation.
Yeah. And?
Breathing and chanting.
Yeah, very good. Breathing is one method, but sometimes what happens if you have a running nose or blocked nose? So breathing can be subtle. Not a lot of people can bring the awareness to the breath. Even if they can, it only lasts 2 seconds and they're out somewhere. So with the mantra, the Amitabha mantra, I call it Amitabha recitation, you can keep the mindfulness in your mind all the time. I said just now we have like a really loud noise outside. Like my mind could have run out, or in my mind it could be like Amitabha. But I'm not running away with it. Then you are in mindfulness. You are in meditation. So true meditation is about moment to moment practice. It's not about only sitting 1 hour or 1 hour before bed, 1 hour in the morning. But it's good to have this fixed practice. First, you need to train yourself to give rise to this habit, or you forget easily. But most importantly is that you need to bring it into your life. Everything you do should be like a meditation. But it takes practice. It takes, maybe years of practice, because our habit is like we just run away easily. Someone says something and we get agitated or angry easily, because we are too attached. Amitabha. Okay, no attachment, happy and peaceful. Nothing is more important than this. If you can do this well in your life, you can be successful, whatever you do. Because whatever you do requires your mind, your attention, your focus. If you can be in the moment, you're not getting like easily upset or everything, right? You have very good energy. And you can use this energy to direct this life force into whatever you want to do in your life. And you can really create the life you want. Yes. So this is the most fundamental if we want to live a good life. The essence of Buddhist teaching is really to help us to live a happy life. It's not like pessimistic. It's not like depressed or anything like that. You don't have to renounce. What's most importantly is to renounce maybe our attachment too much, to renounce our worries, to renounce our afflictions. You can renounce your hair if you want, but this is not the most important. The most important is our heart, it's our mind. To be free from the worries and troubles. To remember to take your medicine. So my medicine every day is Amitabha. I tell you, this is the best medicine. It's free, it's simple, it's so effective. If I remember this meditation and medicine, then I don't have any worries throughout the day. I can be happy in that peace. If I'm not happy in that peace, it's because I forget my medicine. So we're gonna take the medicine, we're gonna take the pill. This is the Amitabha medicine. Okay, and usually to the right side of Shakyamuni Buddha, we see another giant Buddha statue, and that is, No, Amitabha Buddha to the right. Usually that's how, if you go into a Chinese temple, that's the layout. Okay, and Amitabha usually holds a what? Anyone knows? Lotus, very good. So why the Buddha holds a lotus?
Because it's pure and clean and came from the mud.
Yes. Yeah, we should all be like the lotus, right? Yeah. But also because the Pure Land is like a lotus-born land. So this maybe sound a bit sci-fi and like a movie or something, but you just keep this in mind, and later maybe you might find out for yourself. Mm-hmm. So the Buddha said when we go to the Pure Land, we first discard the physical body. Okay, the physical body is impermanent, and then we migrate our mind, our consciousness, migrate to the Pure Land. And we are in the Pure Land, we are born through the lotus. It's transformationally born. So the Pure Land is like also the lotus land. You see how they all standing on the lotus. The painting outside, you will see how beings are born from the lotus in the Pure Land. It's like quickly you shift into a different dimension. Yeah. At the end of your life, if you can be mindful of Amitabha, you will really see the Buddha. If you want to go to his Pure Land, okay, if you say you don't want to go, that's fine. He won't like force you. But if you want to go to his Pure Land, you see he's like coming to receive you like that. And then you transformationally born through the lotus, like this little Buddha here. Yeah, from the lotus in the lotus pond in the Pure Land. But it's nothing like what we're saying here. We thought, the lotus is so small. How can we like born through the lotus? No, nothing like what you think of. Yeah, this is just a way of convenience. And the lotus in the Pure Land is so huge. And when I say lotus pond, I don't mean the lotus pond on earth. So it's a completely different concept. It's like you can think of it as a really advanced, like super advanced, like Pure Land, like the highest dimension of the universe, of like a world. Okay, so this is sort of like the ideal world that we want to be aspired to go to after this temporary life here on earth. You say, I don't want to go there, that's fine. You can go wherever you want to go. But this is what we sort of like recommend you. We let you know there is this even better world out there that you can choose to go by reciting the name of Amitabha, by which faith and value you want to go, and he will really come to receive you. And it is really true because in China, from the ancient China, this practice has been existed in China for over 1,600 years. Right? Originated from India and then came to China. And through this 1,600 years in the Dongjing dynasty, through to the Tang dynasty, the Song dynasty, the Ming dynasty, all these Asian dynasties, they were Pure Land practitioners, mindful practitioners. They recite the name of Amitabha. They really saw the Buddha at the end of their life to come to receive them. There's a book, actually 5 books, like really, really thick, called Sages of the Pure Land, in Chinese called 净土圣贤录. And it recorded all the rebirth cases of beings practice this meditation, and they saw the Buddha and they follow the Buddha to the Pure Lands. So this is indeed real. And I'll also share more on my own channel called Pure Land Buddhism. I also share the rebirth cases, and on our website also with the translation. So we are currently translating all these books to make them available in English, because it's all been Chinese. That's why a lot of people in the West are not aware of this. But this is the most popular practice in China. So yeah, just something for you to maybe contemplate, to think about. Even if you don't believe it, that's fine. But it's very good. It gives us hope. You know what I mean? To know that death is not the end. It's the beginning of another journey. And there could be, it's definitely, trust me, a better world, many better worlds out there you can go to. There are also, the Buddha said also, other Pure Lands out there. The Medicine Buddha has a Pure Land in the east called the Pure Land of Lapis Lazuli, also a very beautiful Pure Land. So Buddha said, all these Buddhas, they all have their own Pure Land. Infinite Buddhas, infinite Pure Lands. But he recommends to go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land because this is the easiest Pure Land for us to go to. When you go there, and then you can quickly realize Buddhahood, and then you can go to all other Pure Lands. It's like you get the passport for the cosmos. Yeah, but for other Pure Lands, you have to cultivate really, really hard, which is difficult for us to go to. So first we go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, then we can go to all other Pure Lands if we want. So Yeah.
Can you create your own Pure
Yes,
Land?
very good. You will create your own Pure Land if you become a Buddha. All the Buddha has their own Pure Land. So Buddha is also the perfect enlightened mind. With this perfect enlightened mind, you can create your Pure Land. Yeah, because our environment is also created by our mind. Correct? I mean, who created the city of Melbourne? Like the layout of the city, by the council or whoever, right? But it's also created by the people here with their mind. You see how, like this meditation hall, we all decorated with our mind. So your mind creates the environment you live in. Like your house, you decorated your house. So when you are like a Buddha, you can also create your own Pure Land. Yes. Oh, so forget to say, why is the Amitabha in the West? Why is it called the Western Pure Land of Ultimate Bliss? It's called the Ultimate Bliss because there is no suffering and all bliss. But why do you think it's in the West? Why not the East? Why is the medicine Buddha's Pure Land in the East? Any idea? Actually, in the universe, is there really like north, east, west, south? It depending on where you are, right? Yeah, if I'm here, like maybe, yeah, this is like my east. But if I'm there, like different. Yeah, why is the Pure Land in the east, west? So think about where the sun sets.
West.
West. Very good. So the sun sets to the west. So this is where we return home. So this is also a metaphor. Yeah. Also, the Buddha in the sutra also said, to the west of this world, hundreds of millions of Buddha lands away, there is a world called Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, the land of ultimate bliss. And there's a Buddha called Amitabha. He's right now teaching the Dharma. Why is the land called ultimate bliss? Because this is a world with no suffering and all bliss. But in other sutra, the Buddha said the Pure Land is not far from here, like from the visualization sutra. You have to visualize like this, like this, like this, like this. And then you can, if you want to see Amitabha Buddha now, before you go, you can. But you need to practice according to the sutra's methods, to attain a very high level of meditative concentration. So your mind really resonates with the Buddha's mind, then you can possibly see Amitabha Buddha and the Pure Land before you even go. Yeah, so it's possible with practice, very deep and strong practice. It's possible. So the West is actually a metaphor. It's very far away from us because our mind is very far away. But if our mind can be mindful of Amitabha in every moment of our life, it's very possible you can break the dimension and see the Pure Land now. Yeah, and there are people who can see the Pure Land now. Before, maybe they're like 30 years old. They will only go to the Pure Land after they're 80. But if they practice very deep, it's possible for them to see it now. Yeah, so the Pure Land is also everywhere. You can think of them as different dimensions. But because our mind, the frequency is not to the Buddha's frequency, so now we can't see it. Yes. So the West is like a metaphor. It tells us this is where we go home at the end of our life. To go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land to realize our Buddhahood, which is infinite light and life. Also the true meaning of Amitabha, Amitabha. Okay. Any sort of questions or discussions or sharing people like to share?
I have a question. It's from another 经典
Sutra. Yeah.
sutra, from another sutra. Yeah, I remember in the 金刚经
Diamond Sutra.
In the Diamond Sutra, have people say, if I use the 32相见如来
Yeah.
能不能见？那but Amitabha say we can use this to see. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. So very sort of a deep and actually profound question. So his question is related to a famous Buddhist sutra called the Diamond Sutra.
Yeah.
And the Diamond Sutra, it's all about to not be attached, to let go of your attachment. So there's a saying in the Diamond Sutra say, if you want to see the Tathagata is like the Buddha, also the Buddha nature. You cannot just see with the 32 great signs. So all the Buddha has 32 great marks. That's the Buddha's marks. How the sage predicted he will be like the future Buddha, the Buddha, he will realize Buddhahood when he's just a little baby. And because he was born with the 32 great marks, the 32 great marks of a being, and also 80 minor signs. 32相和80随行好. So that is the sort of characteristics of the Buddha's physical characteristics. When he was born, he came with it. And then the sage Asita could quickly predict, because he possessed all these 32 great signs and the 80 minor signs, so he will definitely renounce and realize Buddhahood. But for the Diamond Sutra, it's like the Buddha said, you shouldn't just be attached to these signs, the 32 great signs. Yeah. There's also a Chakravartin and Zhanrenshen. This is a bit deep. So Chakravartin is also like a king with great power. He could also possess the 32 great signs. So you shouldn't just think with the 32 great signs, then this is like the Buddha. Basically, he's telling you to not be attached, because the Buddha can also manifest in different forms and different signs and different beings. You can be the Buddha. You can be the Buddha that manifested here. But you hide away your identity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They will always come back to help save sentient beings. Actually, many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in our world, but you cannot know who they are. They are like great actors and actresses amongst us. So they were not all born with 32 great signs and the 80 minor signs. Only Shakyamuni Buddha born with this is really to tell them, hey, I'm the Buddha here. But there are other Buddhas who come back, they're like secret agent. They all come here to sort of like carry out a mission, but then they will not reveal to you. So you shouldn't be attached to, you're definitely not a Buddha because you don't have the 32 great signs. You could very well be a Buddha.
Everybody will be in the future. That's why there is some explanation for 这有一个佛叫未来佛.
The future Buddha.
The future, everybody is the future.
Future Buddha.
That's why when Buddha, there's a specific name of the Buddha, but I forgot. And when he make everyone your because we all
常不轻菩萨.
we could 常不轻.常不轻菩萨.
Yeah, so there is also a practice in Buddhism. It's like it's practiced by this bodhisattva. It's called never contempt bodhisattva. So whatever he sees, he will bow at this you. Yeah, that's his practice, because he knows you are also the future Buddha. Mm-hmm. So it's also to let go of our ego, let go of our attachment to the self, to really honor the Buddha nature that's within everyone. So when we make bow, it's really also to bow at ourselves, the future Buddha, the Buddha nature that's within us.
So the Buddha have the possible to 怎么说，就是也会堕落回凡夫。
不是堕落，他们是成愿再来。
我是说会不会他们也会再一次被迷住这样？
不会，他们会表演被迷住，但他们不会真的被迷住。
Okay.
It's a performance. So good question he asked. He said, will the Buddha reincarnate back to be like human? It's not reincarnate, different concept. When we say we reincarnate as ordinary beings, but the Buddha, they come back with the vow to help save sentient beings. So they can be like us, amongst us, but they're not affected by the sufferings here. They can pretend they are affected just to relate to you at your level, right? And if we are dumb, they need to appear like a bit dumb, so then we can understand what he's saying. So they relate to you at your level. They can be like you, but in essence, they're not affected by the suffering here, and they can. Yeah. So this Buddha has 3 bodies. We're going more to more complex subjects. Just quickly, and then we're going to close it. So the Dharma body, the rewards body, and the manifestation body. Dharma body is everywhere. The Buddha nature, the Tathagata, is everywhere. we say everywhere, we can't see it. Right? It's not like they are everywhere. They can manifest in all forms. Yeah, but this you cannot really comprehend at the moment because you're not there. You know what I mean? A rewards body is where the Buddha's body like this. They reside in the Pure Land with the rewards body, Sabhagakaya in Sanskrit. So this is after countless eons of practice. Very hard. Then you can obtain that kind of body. You can stand on lotus. You can be like a golden body, not the flesh body. This is this body. Another is the manifestation body, is that they have the ability to manifest in countless worlds at the same time, not just one by one. No, they can appear with many identities in different worlds, different realms to help save sentient beings. If they want to help save us, they can appear as a human. If they want to help save an animal, they can appear as an animal. Yeah, there are cases like that in China, real cases of like a pig called Mint. And this mint pig is like a bodhisattva manifestation because he will only eat mint. He will not eat those dirty food, only mint. And all the pigs, before they're being slaughtered, the mint will circle around them and they feel very calm. Before they were all like crying, you know, they want to, because they know they're going to be healed. But the mint will go there to comfort them and they were all like peaceful. Yeah. So this is, we call a bodhisattva pig. So bodhisattva can appear even as ghost, even to the hell realm, to help beings, depending on who they want to help. So a bit like sci-fi for some people who are new to this concept, but yeah, it's very interesting and you can find out more later if you're interested. Yeah. Okay, so maybe today is enough. We're mindful of the time, so we just close the session. We can also do a merit transfer. So you can bring your hands together. So if you have any beings in your life, people, family, loved ones, maybe feel a bit of experience a bit of suffering at the moment, you can transfer merit to them, and you can bring blessings to them. So you can think of merit like spiritual currency. And when we do the Dharma work, we generate sort of invisible spiritual currency. And you can, to transfer merit, is like you decide how you want to spend this currency, this money. So you can also transfer blessings to whoever you want to transfer. Or any prayer in your mind, you can also transfer merit to. Okay, we can also say this together. You can repeat after me. So, may all beings be happy.
May all beings be happy.
And have the causes of happiness. May all beings be free.
May all beings be free
from suffering and the causes of suffering.
from suffering and the causes of suffering.
南无阿弥陀佛。